Never heard of him.
Okay. Yeah, Mosley. There's a couple of women, right? I don't know. Those are mainly interested in crime kind of stuff. And Ford and Irving and Tobias Wolff and Carver all write basically middle class, about the middle class kind of stuff. But Mosley writes about the street a lot. So if you want to get a good book in terms of the black perspective from the street, pick up any Walter Mosley novel. He's probably written 10 of them at least. And he's easy to read. He's got good characters. I like him a lot, you know. So those kind of writers, I read people that have good character development. There's a lot of writers that don't have good character. They have, a lot of it's too internal, But somebody like Mosley, and I think somebody like me, tries to develop from a character's perspective. I write a lot of dialogue too, So, and even older guys, James Cain, he wrote from the 30s and 40s. I mean, he wrote "The Postman Always Rings Twice" and "Double Indemnity." James Cain, and his books are almost solidly dialogue driven, and they're crime books. But he wrote in the 30s and 40s. He's still very readable, real quick books, small books. But I like books that basically tell a story from a perspective of the characters that are involved in the story, you know, and try and make sure that the writer is only articulating what he thinks the character is feeling, not what the writer is feeling, what he thinks the character is feeling. So it's always, you try and put yourself inside the character as best you can. That's why doing jobs and hanging out the pool hall gives you a perspective of what these people think, because you want to be able to articulate the story from their point of view. And if you do that, you're going to include your point of view naturally, quite frankly. You will. So, anything else?
Just one or two more questions.
Hopefully, this is helpful for you.
Uh, I was wondering how you were feeling the time you were writing Kansas City Jazz, or Jazz in Kansas City.
I think you go into a zone. If you're a writer, you know what I'm talking about. You go into a zone, and you try and be in the story you're writing about. Maybe from a perspective of distance, but you're starting to be in it. No, it's like you don't want to. You're into that. You're writing about what's going on in your mind and what you're trying to put on a page. It's kind of a zone deal. I mean, any good writer does that.
Sounds like you're intently focused. I mean, that's
you have to be focused. And you have to have you try and start from I sit down in front of the screen, and I've got I usually have a thought in mind, some sort of an idea in mind, and I go from there. And I might not never use it, but I'm using the thought of it. I mean, and most of my reversions is on the lead. I revise the lead because I don't think it works. Because once you put down the lead, maybe you do 2 or 3, 4 pages, you're getting into the story, and you finally decide when you get in the story, the lead doesn't work for the story. So you have to step back and maybe rewrite the lead. But it's basically feeling what works for you. And you'll know when you write well. If you don't already, you'll know when you like this sounds great. And don't be afraid to revise, and don't be afraid of reworking things. And try and use action words when you can, but don't overdo it. Not everything is action.
You have to be That's a great sort of shorter with the amount of words that you're using. The words have to be punctual.
I try and write short sentences unless it's a setting. Like I want to set the stage for the environment. It might be a long stage, but I like to write short to the point state sentences. Because that's the way people talk. Listen to how people talk. You're not going to get some sort of long dissertation over my pool game. No, they're going to tell you, yeah, I did well. This is what I did. Did you see that shot? Whatever it may be. You know, so you capture the sound of their voice, and then you add the atmosphere to it. And that atmosphere might be the physical environment around them, or it might be just how they look. You know, how they express themselves, whatever it may be. So
there's only one of the questions on your head, and I believe you did shed some light on this. But what was your upbringing like, and has it influenced your writing a lot, or your upbringing? I mean, growing up?
yeah, I came from a broken family, which always has a bearing over your view of things because it's like absence of love. I guess this might be one way to put it. You know, and also I was not encouraged to be an artist or a writer. You know, I came from a lower middle class background. I mean, I finished college based on the GI Bill, not because of course, in those days it was pretty cheap too. But and I came in through the hippie drug scene, and the drugs have an effect because when there's things lacking in your life, you try and find substitutes to fill those holes. And at that time, it was basically drugs and sex. That was what was filling the holes in your life. And then later on, when you get older, you realize, well, that's just phony. You know,
You realize, I suppose, it's all temporary. It's all something somebody just came up with, and the rest of the kids went along with it. And within a few years, some of them are actually doing all right, and some of them are completely spiraling out of control. I've seen it.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if there's any magic formula to why somebody can get out of that and why somebody can't. But I don't know. But when I didn't start writing until I was 30 years old. I did all this other shit, drugs and whatever, partying, tried to be a musician, the whole 9 yards, nothing worked. And literally, I decided I want to be a writer. So I literally woke up one day and had 3 ideas that I sent to the editor of the City Magazine. And all local. One was a political piece. One was a piece on your granddad, in which I ended up writing.
We may still have that piece.
And it's on the Kansas City Star. I can't remember what it was called, but Don was in it. I had a picture of him in it, and also a trick shot artist used to come through was in it too. And then a third, I gave her 3 ideas, and she said, "Yeah, I like that one." So I wrote about it, ended up being a piece, and then the magazine folded. So I had the second idea over the pool, and I took it to at that time Star magazine, and since I already been published, he says, "Yeah, I'll give you a shot on that." They liked that. So within the first year that I was writing, I had 2 cover stories come out in local publications. And I was like, "Yeah, all right." And after that, I started writing about music for Kansas City Magazine, and that's basically, if you're going to write, whoever you're writing for, college or whoever it is, write. You know, right. Just keep writing, and it's how you learn, and read a lot. Read a lot of authors. If you're into fiction, then read the crime guys. Crime can be fairly easy and formulaic. Somebody like James Patterson who just cranks out these stories. Which I don't read, or Parker. I can't remember. Robert Parker cranks them out too. Some of Parker's stuff's pretty good, but you get into a formula, and you kind of anticipate what's going to happen. But life is full of surprises, and you got to work those kind of surprises into. And sometimes, if you know your character well, the character will deliver the surprise to you, whether it's a remark, whether it's a thought, whatever it may be, because people are complex. and also very simple in a lot of ways in terms of what buttons you can push. Drugs, sex, competition, profit. You know, crime is driven by profit, make money, greed.